Dark and Darker is a full loot extraction dungeon crawler. It's being compared very closely to Escape from Tarkov, for good reason. Basically, it's got the game loop of going in, getting loot, and getting out. In this video, I'm going to go over why you should be trying out Dark and Darker. Now, I do want to put a big caveat on this video because this game is extremely early access right now. It is not complete. A lot of the game menus and different various parts of the game literally have a lot of placeholder art. There is a long way to go with this game, but there is a good reason why I'm recommending you trying this out. Because despite the incompleteness of this game, the game is incredibly fun. It's hard to actually put this into words, but for some reason, the game loop is extremely addicting and fun. I've had a good time playing alone, playing with friends who aren't very good at games. Honestly, the game just does a good job at creating good, fun, hilarious moments while being fairly competitive match to match. I want to go over what type of player would enjoy this game. Now, this game is a hardcore full loot game. It does have some casual friendly elements. The game gives you a default loadout, which helps to be able to run into a match without any risk to the player. So while it is a very punishing and difficult game, a lot of times when going into it, there's no risk for the player. So this does help a lot of the more casual player base get into it and feel like they can just have a good time. And even at rock bottom, they're able to go back into a match without any trouble. Now, in my opinion, I believe that this game does need something else to help out their casual player base or players that are just getting into the game, newer players that need a bit of help starting that stockpile of loot. And honestly, the only thing I can really point to is something like Tarkov's Safe Container or some sort of extra ability for players to be able to feel like they're able to get a win even when they're killed in the dungeon, or in some cases, killed multiple matches in a row. But that aside, the game is quite hardcore, and so if you are looking to try this game, keep in mind, it is punishing. Now, as with all of the things I'm going to talk about here, these elements could change. The game is in very early access. The devs are definitely in the phase of trying things out, throwing things at the wall, and seeing what sticks. So all these things could change a bit. And from what I can tell, what they've done so far, I have pretty good faith that they're going to be able to make good changes as the development goes forward. Now, I want to go over and really analyze what makes the game fun, and I'm going to try and do that, but it is very difficult. This game does have just what appears to be an extremely fun element to it that is hard to describe. One thing I do think that this game does right is a relatable and simple combat system. Now, there are some games that have been released, first-person melee games, that have a lot of intricate attacking and blocking mechanics. Things like Mordhau or For Honor, Mortal Online 2, all have a generally complex system of swinging different directions, blocking different directions, very high skill-based combat. Now, Dark and Darker doesn't seem to do that whatsoever. It has a very click the left click at your opponent and deal damage type of mechanic. There is a way to block swings. There is a way to back off or get in. There is an element of skill there, but at its core, it is pretty simple to get into. And honestly, I think this works to its advantage. I feel like a good, successful game is going to give a way for skilled players to feel like they can improve, feel like they can outplay their opponent, and this game does that well. But on the other hand, sometimes you can just hold W, keep hitting left click, and come out with a win. And honestly, I think that's good because it's important for players to feel like even when they're a bit newer or a bit less skilled, they can find some victories in the game. And so I think that's one thing that this game does really well is it's got a good balance of skill-based complex gameplay and simple swing and brawl mechanics. And so I do want to praise the game for what they've done right there. Another part that I do want to highlight here is just how funny this game is, and I don't know how to better phrase that. The game has just the right amount of jank. From basically swinging your weapons, hitting walls, it has plenty of hilarious situations of your whole team trying to storm through a door and getting blasted by a mage, or a mage accidentally blasting their own teammates, buffing opponents, accidentally shielding enemies or mobs. It's got a lot of room for players to mess up in great ways that can create some hilarious, memorable moments. I think it's hard to portray that to someone who hasn't played the game, and telling someone that the game is a bit janky could turn a lot of people off, but honestly, it feels like the game is designing it in a way where the game gives you enough freedom to succeed or completely screw up in a glorious fashion. And I feel like a lot of games try and avoid that, but Dark and Darker has done it right. And now this is probably going to be a pretty short video. The game is very early access, but I did want to put out something on my thoughts and opinions on this game so far. It's extremely promising. It's got a lot of big names looking at it. Their playtests have had extremely impressive numbers, some of them increasing in player population by 50% each day. The next playtest is coming up on December 16th, and I'll absolutely be playing the entire playtest. The game is way too much fun to put down, and I'm definitely looking forward to what they can do with this game. And that's pretty much where I want to end it here. Going forward, I'm probably going to be releasing a few more Dark and Darker related videos, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested in Dark and Darker content. But otherwise, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.